All right. Thank you, Stefan. Welcome everyone. And Stefan, I just want to congratulate you on a wonderful debut of the film As Far as I Can Walk on Eswatini soil. It was a full house.
Really?
Yes. We had a full house and it's morning and it's pretty cold. So people still came out. It was a wonderful turnout. Congratulations on that one.
That's really great news. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you.
All right. And then just to introduce our group, we have a group of young directors and screenwriters. Some have extensive experience, some are fresh, some are new, university graduates and film enthusiasts in the group. So it's quite a lovely group, and it's people that actually volunteered to be part of this symposium, and we're hoping to learn quite a lot from you. And I'm hoping that our group will also be as enthusiastic and share and also have their own questions as we go along. I'm going to start with just giving our audience, the directors and writers, an opportunity to ask one or two questions, guys, if you have any on the film As Far as I Can Walk. The floor is yours. You can just raise your hand and speak.
Wow, there is one. Thank you.
Sorry, Ronan, I think that muted. Yeah, my apologies. Thank you, Xavier. It's muted. Can we unmute, please?
Okay.
Xavier, thank you very much, Xavier. Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Stefan. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I asked two questions at the same time, but yeah, I'm
okay.
Nervous. I think one of the questions that I'd have is the importance of collaboration, and also if you give us a sense of your budget in terms of how you put it together, considering you were also talking about the fact that you were using accessible equipment and you were also making use of some of the refugees to also complement your extras and stuff like that. Maybe give us a sense of how easy it would be to put together a film without, because oftentimes you find most of us get hung up on price, resources and all of that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, but you can keep sitting there. Okay. Yeah. No, it's good. Everything is fine. Well, first of all, thank you for asking. I'm happy that you're not shy. We get, first of all, I'm coming from a country that is called Serbia. It used to be Yugoslavia. Then we had the civil war. Now we are 6 different countries. But anyway, we are on the southeast of Europe. We are quite, how do you say it? How do you say we have a limited capacity, which means that we are poor, basically. So there's not that really much money involved, though. Lately, the TV series are really getting booming, and there is money for TV series, but not much for film. So what we do, it's a European model. We get the money from our government, from the film center. So what you do is there is every year 2 times there are open calls, and you can apply with your project, and then you get the money for shooting your film. But unfortunately, the money we get is not enough that we can really shoot proper film in our country, in our conditions, with how much everything costs. So we always have to find co-producers in other countries. In our case, we had to involve 4 more countries. So it's 5 countries: Serbia, France, Luxembourg, Lithuania, and Bulgaria. And with all these kind of new partners from new countries. You get the money from you always get the money from them. This is European model. You get the money from this other country, but you have to spend this money in this country that is giving you money, or on the people working from their country. So I had some collaborators coming from different countries. We had to do a lot of post-production. I mean, most of the post-production in other countries, and this is, this is the way to shoot the film that is having like a, I don't know, normal budget. I wouldn't say we are high budget. I wouldn't say we are low budget. I would say we are normal budget, kind of, maybe even more than normal. So to answer directly, the cost of the film was around 1 million euros. Yeah, I know it sounds a lot, but especially when you have to pay. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, and I got 250,000 from Serbia, which is, so you understand the thing. With 250, I definitely couldn't shoot this kind of film, and I wouldn't go with that. If I was young, I would shoot maybe definitely something. And some of my young colleagues, when they shoot the first film, they shoot it with only the money they get from. But this is the first film, and you're asking your friends to work for little money or for free, and this can work, and I'm always for that. But I'm middle-aged now, and I had some success, so I cannot ask anybody to work for a little money. So yeah, this is and if you think about it, so with this amount, we had to pay French crew and Luxembourg crew, who are obviously having much bigger salaries than us. So it sounds great, but at the end of the day, it's I think at the end of the day, with any film, it's like, it's never enough money. I think it's really never enough money. And I was reading a lot of interviews with directors in Hollywood and everywhere, and everybody's complaining that there's never enough money and there's never enough time to shoot it. So I think at the end of the day, we are all shooting with what we have in the time we have, and I really believe very important part of our directing is making the best out of the situation, and improvising, production wise, or at the shooting and things like that. So I don't know if I answered. Thank you.
All right.
Don't leave. Why are you leaving? I thought the other. Okay, also. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Okay. Another question from the floor.
You don't have to.
Yes.
Okay, please move a little bit to your right.
Cool. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I would like to applaud the use of music. I think the most intense part of the film is the walking, when it's traveling between the fields and the train and whatnot. It was very, I don't know, it created some kind of anxiety within the traveling of this guy. And you used little but enough to tell that he's now in the certain area, he's now moving in that, which I find inspiring on my part. My question would be, was that an intention, or it's something that happened? Yeah, were you intending for that?
You're talking about the music now, or you're talking about the middle part when he's walking alone?
I'm talking about the music, how you've used it, and when you did not use it, and the suspense in the traveling and him walking in the forest and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay, so the music, I was explaining how this co-production with different countries works. So we had a Lithuanian composer who I never met, only with Zoom like this. So I know him as much as I know you. But he was producing music for this film, and then he had a lot of ideas and sending a lot of stuff. And to be quite honest, I'm really bad with music, and I'm bad with putting music in film. I never know how to explain what I want, and I never know where to use it. But I was doing with we were trying this song, not songs, the music that this composer made on our film with the editor who I trust, and then we each time we put the music, it felt immediately that the scene feels very false, fake. It feels fake. Because I don't know, is it because of music, or maybe we are used to this, what we were having in the editing. But anyway, whenever we tried the music on the scenes, we felt like, it's becoming a movie, because the whole idea as a director is that you forget that you're watching a film and you really believe that these are the real people. And and I had a feeling each time the music was starting, you were aware that it's just a movie. And then so we at the end, I decided not to use at all except this pink that is happening before the narrator starts talking. And I haven't heard from the composer. I don't know if he's happy. Probably not. But we used a lot of his music in the ending credits. So which are again 7-minute long, because they were done in Lithuania. And anyway, I was not there to tell them, can we make it shorter? But anyway, the middle part was really the biggest challenge for me as a director, because I had it in the script, just explaining what he was thinking and where he is going. But then we were just going to locations and looking for interesting landscape, and then mostly improvising. We just see a field, and then we say, okay, you're coming from this side, it looks great, and then things like that. It was my biggest fear that it will be very boring, and thank you for saying that it's not. Maybe you're nice, but that was really hard. And also, if you think about it, this is like a 20 to 25 minutes of film without any dialogue. So you keep attention with that. I think our actor Ibrahim Koma was just amazing, and I think thank you for coming back. I think our actor Ibrahim Koma was really amazing, and I think a lot of it is because of him. I think he has this. He manages to that you have empathy for him, that you really feel like, at least me, when I'm watching him, I'm believing him everything, and I just empathize with him. I feel I can identify very easily. So that was it. The main thing as a director for this the part when he's alone was somehow to find the right rhythm in the editing, and to keep changing things, because if you think about it, it's just him walking. So, but sometimes he meets this man who is yelling in Hungarian. Sometimes he hears this girl. Sometimes he has to rest. And so just finding the rhythm with the story and rhythm with the editing, that it hopefully keeps the attention. That was it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for your questions. I think we're going to move on. It's now 13 minutes past 1. Stefan, I'd like to hand over to you for your brief 20-minute talk on short film. And thank you so much for sharing the link to your award-winning film. Congratulations on the awards, by the way. We have had a chance to watch it. I think everyone that's in the audience has had a chance to watch it, so they will have questions. But if we could just go into your topic.
Okay, I gather. I also I also teach at the faculty at the master studies. So and during these studies we are making the graduation short film. So I just wanted to share with you. I wrote a little bit, just some thesis. What are the usual mistakes that people are doing when they are directing short films? And one of the most common is that people are trying to squeeze a feature film into a short, because if you think about it, we are all watching feature films, and then we have to do a short. It's somehow strange. How many short films did you see? I mean, not as many as feature films. And then the common mistake, because you want to do something big and you want to tell all the things that you want to tell, and then you come up with a story for a feature film, but because you're doing a short, then you squeeze it. Usually, this kind of films don't work, and what is and again, there are no rules in cinema, of course, you never know, but mostly, well, all the things that I'm gonna advise you, it's like that. Mostly, what works for short film is one situation that you don't have, and then another day something else happens with the character, and another day something else. I mean, there are examples of working, but for sure what works for short film is one situation. And what works for sure is that you have a surprising ending. Think about the ending. Mostly, I would say that the most effective short films are in a form of a joke. There is this guy and that girl, and then you have a punchline at the end. There is something unexpectedly funny, surprising, scary. I don't know, depending what kind of film you are making. So what I would suggest is that think about one situation, but and think about how your ending could be surprising, but surprising in a form of what was happening in the story so far, to make something surprising, but also logical. Another thing I would also advise was to think about how you start your film. Again, it's a short film and it's not a feature film, so usually so sometimes people start with like long expositions. Then there is a character by the time then we understand who he is or she is, and then another character, and then it's the end of a short film already. When you write a short film, question yourself, maybe you don't need this first act, this introduction. Maybe you can just start like already with something very dramatic happening. This is something that I mean, most of the film that Brothers Dardenne, I don't know if you heard about Brothers Dardenne or watched their films. They are Belgian filmmakers who are super successful. Twice they won Palme d'Or in Cannes. But if you watch their feature films, they are always it's like a normal script, but you don't have the introduction. It's just already there is. Usually they start with somebody running and yelling or kicking somebody or doing something, and immediately, if you watch their films, you're immediately interested. What is happening? There's something very dramatic. This is a very easy way how you can make your film interesting, and then but it's important then to see that during the film we understand who is who and why is he doing. But we don't need to see them first, in a normal situation, then something strange happens, and then they react, and there's something dramatic. This beginning is also very important for the audience. It's also important for film selectors who, if you want to go to the film festivals, there is a lot of films making nowadays, and these film selectors, if you think about their job, they have to see really a lot. How they are doing, they will never tell you, but most probably they just watch the beginning and they see if they want to continue watch it or not. Think how you can make this beginning of your film intriguing and interesting. If you think also about what is happening on the internet when you get something on Instagram or whatever, how long do you give a chance for a video to watch? Usually, like, I don't know, and when you put something on the internet, if it's mostly 15 seconds. And then even I think sometimes 15 seconds, come on, I don't have the whole time in the world. So just, think about grabbing the attention. Think about how you can, the most interesting way to start the film. When you grab the attention, then you can do whatever you want. Then somebody can walk for 20 minutes in the woods alone. But it's important to grab the attention immediately in the beginning. So, especially in a short film. I remember there was I was talking with a very famous UK director, Ken Russell. He did some really crazy films in the old times. Now he's dead, but I met him at some moment and I was asking him, so what would be your main advice? And then he said, actually, whenever I was making my films, I was thinking about my parents who are watching it on TV, and I knew I have a time just before they can reach the remote control to change the channel. Think about I thought that was amazing. I was thinking, there are some normal people watching your films on a TV, and just something starts, do they like it, do they not, change their minds by the time they can reach for the remote control and change it. So try to be very efficient in the beginning and very interesting. Another thing, it's team. Try to choose a team that is not only interesting for you, but that could be interesting for the society or for other people in the other countries. There are probably some, I wouldn't know, but there are probably some big topics for your country, and even though you might think that people already made a film about this important topic, like I was dealing with migration, or in another film I was dealing with a war in my country. But there is always a way to do it differently. In this short film that I did, it was a war film, but nobody died, and it was basically about a cow in a war. How many films about a cow in a war did you see? And it was many years before Spielberg made War Horse, I have to say. It was, by the way, I also think cow is more interesting than a horse, but I will not get there anymore. So what I'm trying to say is, find your own angle, even if it's a theme that everybody already used. Find your own angle. My angle with migration was, using the very old Serbian poem that everybody knows, and just putting it in a modern context and making it relevant today. You can always find your own way, and we are so different. You can find your own way into these topics. I already mentioned, but I will just repeat it once again. Please don't make films that are just for you and your friends. Make films that are for everyone, and because this is the only way that they can really communicate. I'm so happy that I can now talk to you, but if my film was very, very local in a way that you couldn't understand it, probably I would not be invited here, and probably you would not understand things. Be always, but you shouldn't make film for others. Make it always for yourself, but at some point question yourself, with other people from different countries understand it. I was, for example, on this film, I was happy. I worked with a French co-writer. He was a boyfriend of my friend here in Serbia, so he was spending a lot of time here, and then they broke up. So I stayed hanging out with him, and when we were doing this film, we were doing something. I was always asking him, "Is this understandable for you? Do you know what's actually happening?" One of the tricks that I'm doing when I'm making a film is always I ask myself if this film that I'm doing was coming from another country, but not like Hollywood, because Hollywood you would always watch. But if the story I'm doing is coming from another country, would I go to cinema to watch it? Not Hollywood again, because Hollywood, whatever they do, we watch, but some other country that is very similar to yours. I'm using Bulgaria for me, and sometimes I'm like, oh, no way I would watch a Bulgarian film about this. And this is a good, test that helps me understand that probably nobody in Bulgaria or anywhere else would watch my movie. This is an easy thing that you can just do for 1 minute, and then ask yourself, if it's not working, why is it not working? Try to make universal films and universal stories that could be interesting for other people, like in Serbia or in US or wherever. This is the only way for your film to travel. But when I say universal, that also doesn't mean that you shouldn't be local. Be local, but universal. I think it's very important that you make very local films. This is the reason, for example, why I used a Serbian medieval poem to tell the story about the migrants. If the more local you go, the more specific you will be, and the more different you will be from other films. People like to go to cinema if they're watching a film from another country. They are to see how these other people are living. Don't be ashamed that you're coming from your country. Be proud of it, and make stories that are important for your country, and that could be understandable everywhere else. But make your own films, and make the films that are coming from your country. Again, you have to, you don't have to, but for sure, this will make people more interested in film. I have no clue how people are living in your country, but I'm watching you now, and I'm curious, and I would like to watch your films and get to know. This is like an added value to your story. It's not just an exciting story. It just, I get to see something that otherwise I wouldn't usually see. So this is it. I don't know. Make your film as special as you can. Don't copy other directors. Sometimes people like to say here, like, oh, he's a Serbian Tarantino. I never feel this is good, I think, you are still a copy of somebody else. Why would I do a films like Tarantino, I don't want to, and it will be always a copy, There are no way it will make international impact, and people will appreciate you as much as they appreciate Tarantino. Try to find your own voice, and the more unique you are, the more it will people will be interested in it. I remember there was German producer, Karl Baumgartner. He was really one of the most important European producers. He was working a lot of co-productions with other countries. And once I met him, and I again asked him, so Baumi, what would be, how can we collaborate? What would be something, what kind of film should I do to make you interesting? And he told me just 2 words. He said, surprise me. I was really young then, and I think this is really probably the greatest advice I ever got for filmmaking. This is, surprise me. Don't make another Tarantino movie that is not made by Tarantino. Make your own film that is very surprising, that people never saw. And we are so different as individuals that we are able to make different films. So just think about yourself, and make it original and surprising. Don't copy. This is because a lot of time I see my students copying directors they like. I do it. I used to do it, but try to, even if it's on, not a copy, but inspired by some films that you've seen, make it your own, change it, and make it surprising that it's, Tarantino film, but nobody dies. I don't know. I just invented that, and it's not a good example, but I think you know what I'm thinking, I guess. Is it? Do you have any questions? I'm talking a lot.
Yes, I was just going to ask about the questions, maybe one or two, and then we can continue just based on what you said, Stefan.
Or comment about the things that I said, or anything, whatever, you know. Okay. Yes.
My comment would be
Yes.
what you said earlier on about trying to squeeze the elements of a feature film to a short film. For instance, the character arc. It's very limiting in a short film to actually have your character go through a meaningful arc. You know, so it's you find yourself having to squeeze in, you know, maybe dialogue, because you know you're just trying to you know establish that, you know. So it was just to amplify on that part that, you know, it's quite difficult to get all the elements from a feature film to a short.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't try to make it all. Talking about the character's arc, obviously you cannot make a long, I mean, very complex, beautiful long arc, because you don't have time for it. But it is important that the character changes. I mean, if we have a film that, you know, something happens and your main character doesn't change, then, I mean, if this didn't change the character, why would I watch it? You know, probably it's not so important, you know, it doesn't have any impact to it. So there, I wouldn't say in short films that there is an arc, but there is a change. Think about it that way, you know. Yeah, think about it that way. In my, for example, in my film, I don't know if you've seen it, there is this veterinarian who in the beginning doesn't want to help the cow, but at the end of the film he just wants to stay and help her as much as he can. You know, he changed, something changed in him. It's very important, and it always works. Talking about, I didn't but short film can be also like your way to present yourself and recommend yourself for doing a feature film. So this is one of the things that why I think the short films are important, because it's like also saying, look what I can do. I can make some characters that people care about. I can make some story that is interesting. I can, you know, make the audience feel something. Which is really the hardest, and this is what I think you should aim when you're doing your short films, and short films are really a great step to the feature film. What people do sometimes also is that they take one scene from the feature film that they are preparing, and then they shoot it. And this is again proving my point that, you know, you shouldn't like squeeze the whole movie into short and then ask, you know, and then shoot it, but you can use one part of it. This short film that I did that really changed my life and was very successful was a part of a feature film that was never made. You know, the producer just saw it, he read it, he said, okay, I just take this scene with the cow, and he bought it, he paid the rights, and the feature film was never made. But sometimes, you know, because I believe all of us just most of all want to make feature film. If you have a project that you're excited about, think about, you know, what scene can be used as a short film. And then this is even better for getting the feature film, you know, the trust in you, because you can say, these are the characters, this is the story, this is the mood. You know, maybe, you know, and I have a script for a feature film. that could be really interesting, and then you can find maybe producers and funds that can help you. These people do that a lot of times. The only problem with that could happen that maybe you, by the time you come to the feature film, you lose interest because you spend a lot of time doing that. But on the other hand, this is part of our profession, to kind of not to burn out in your desire to make the film, because at least here it is several years. It takes several years to find the money and then to make it and edit it, and then by the time it goes to the audience, you are a changed person. But it's part of our profession, I would say. Do you have any other question? I would be super happy to answer. Yes, please, in the back.
Okay, yes. My name is Simba. I wanted to ask, in terms of...
Person at the back, can you come closer? We can't see you, we can't hear you.
Could you just stand up or come in the front? Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Zoom, it would have been better in person, but yeah.
Somewhere here. Okay. Okay, thank you. My question is, since you are advising us to be original in our stories, I wanted to ask your advice if we are to write our stories for the international community. We have some of our actors who are upcoming, and some of them you find out that they can't speak English well and stuff like that. They're good in the local language. So what do you advise us to do? Do you think we can stick to the local dialect, or we can just use English? How do we do that? How do we come about that?
I'm really not an expert how this could work for African audiences, but for definitely for European audience, it would be you would have more chances if you do it in a local language, because then we are watching it and then we say, okay, this is language I never heard spoken on film or whatever. This is a very, we believe you more if they speak in English. Okay, I mean, obviously you're using English as well, it works. But if your actors are having trouble with English, don't worry. Do it in local. I think it will give more authenticity and more originality. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was nodding so much that absolutely, don't even question it. I don't know how it works with the African audiences in other countries, but for Europe, it would be for sure better to do it in a local language.
And maybe
because sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, as someone who's been on that Oscar journey, isn't it even more advantageous to do your local language, because that narrows even the competition, and I think you get considered even easier for best international if you're using your local language. Once you go into English, then you're either disqualified. I think Nigeria was disqualified because they said English is English, when in fact English is also a local language. So I think we stand a better chance to go with our local languages.
I just had this situation with As Far As I Can Walk. We are not eligible to Oscar for international feature, because it needs to be at least 50% in a non-English language, in a foreign language. So we are like 70% English, and it doesn't work. So even though we are the best this year, we couldn't be Serbian representative with the Oscars. So another reason to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have some other questions? Don't be shy, please.
Okay, Stefan, I do have one question.
Yeah, but there was another question. I will be fast.
Okay, wonderful. Nanhlanhla, please come to the front.
I could just tell you. No, I was saying that, all right, since you didn't make it for the Oscar, are you expecting to get the European Film Academy Award in Reykjavik in December?
Thank you. Well, no, I don't. But well, thank you. First of all, thank you for the question. Wow, you're following. Yes, we are among 30.
Congratulations, actually, for being nominated.
Thank you. Yeah, we are very proud. We are among 30 films that are considered. But I don't know. It's a really tough competition this year, I think. And I think we might have chance. What I'm hoping for and crossing fingers is that we for the main actor Ibrahim Koma, because I think there are not that many main actor roles that really the actor is all the time in every scene and doing such a marvelous job. I think if somebody has chances, it's him to be nominated, at least. Yeah.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, actually.
Any other question, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go, Elsie.
Since you explained that it was sort of extracted from a feature film, because I was having difficulty in terms of understanding the theme, and also sort of like the character goal, because I understand they were actually traveling somewhere, and then the cow happened. But at the same time, I was like, what would one say you were trying to say through that experience? What message are you relaying?
Mm-hmm. In as far as I can walk, yeah?
No.
In
the film with the cow.
The film with the cow. Yeah, the film. Oof, what did I wanted to say? They say you shouldn't give messages in the film, so I don't know what I want to say. I wanted to say that these people are they want to go away. This is the only way they can go from the Sarajevo, which is a siege city. The only way to escape from the war is through this tunnel, and everybody just wants to get out. And then you think that this is the priority, and then all of a sudden a cow can change it, and that people could, I guess my main point was, it was a long time ago, by the way. My main point was humanity, the humanity that happens there, that, we are all trapped there, and it's not about just me surviving and achieving, but it's about helping other people, and the animals as well. I don't know, it's been 20 years ago now. I was not prepared, but yes, that was a tough film. It was just after my graduation. I did it. I was not even graduated yet. I was still end of my studies, and that was a tough thing with the animals and all the things. It was not easy to direct, but sometimes you surprise yourself and you can do it. Yeah.
There was another hand at the back.
All I wanted to say was just that when I saw it, I thought the theme was music and how music can sort of help in awkward situations, especially for the cow, because with the music, the cow was able to be calmed a bit. And also the people who were in the middle of a besieged environment somewhat forgot that they were in that space, because they were all, in that moment, the music managed to shift them away from the reality.
Absolutely, you're completely right. You said it better than me. That, yes, now that I think about it, I didn't think about it for some time. Now that I think about it, I was telling you about, even if it's a big team that everybody already made films about. And really, I remember when we had a premiere of this film in Berlin Film Festival, which is a very important festival. And then it was written in the beginning, Sarajevo 1994, which is a war. And then I remember half of the audience was like, oh, You know, we've seen so many films like about that. But then you can always find a way to surprise, and also it's not only about finding your own angle into the theme. It's also about having your own reason to do it. You know, I think because as I said, it's a very long process, and so you really have to be passionate about it. So this is something that doesn't have to end up in a film, but you have to, as a director, know for yourself, why are you doing this film? What is for you as a person very important in this film? What makes you, when you think about the film, what makes you, you know, tremble inside? And this was actually absolutely for me, this was the reason, because the film was about artists in war. And I remember when the war started here, a lot of people were questioning, should we have art at all, you know, during the war? You know, is it ethical to have art, to deal with the art? And I was always, as an artist, though very young then, I was always thinking, yeah, absolutely, the art is important. And I think this film is about that, how art can really help you, how art can, as you said, make you survive in a way this terrible situation. Forget for a moment, find a hope, find a meaning, and yeah, that was my reason why I was doing it, because I believe that art is important, even in a tough time, especially in tough time.
Absolutely. Jose, too. Is that your hand?
Yes, hi.
Yes.
I wish to
Thank you.
ask.
Please just get up, Mr. Banze, because we can't see you. Sorry.
No, sure.
Thank you.
Hi, sir. Oh, I wish to ask, based on as far as I can go, you mentioned that it took you 1 year to find the main character. I wish to understand the process of pre-production and how it helped you in terms of finding the right characters of the film.
Okay, thank you. The character was inspired by the real guy I met here as a refugee. His name is Ibrahim Ishak, and he's from Ghana. He's pretty much his story is pretty much like the story of the main character in the film. He wants to be a football player, and he's volunteering for Red Cross, and he's learning the language. He speaks very good the language, so that was the character that inspired me. Even though I was doing something that is very, you know, medieval old song. It's a Serbian. In the song, it's a knight, you know, a warrior in a way from the medieval time. And now I was looking for somebody nowadays, and I thought this is, you know, he is really perfect for the character that I want to build. And then it took us really a long time to find the main actor, because as I said, he is really in every scene. It's all about him. And then I was just looking at the tapes. We had 3 different casting directors, and I was looking at the tapes that I got, and I never felt. I think with the actors is just when you watch the tape that they make, you should feel somehow excited about them. And I was not really excited. Sorry, the sun comes here. I was not really very excited about the actors. Some were really great, but I didn't feel, you know. And then with Ibrahim Koma, when I saw his tape, it was a lot of. What mostly won me over was when he was silent. He was silent, but you could see in his eyes that he was still in a character, and you could feel emotion, and you could feel that he'd been through things. And he was born. He's from actually France. His parents emigrated from Mali, but he was born in France. But I think because of his parents and everything, he had a feeling for this kind of story, and he could really relate. And he's great actor, really. At the end of the day, he's great actor. He started as a teenage boy in some popular soap in France. In France, when I'm with him, some people on the street still remember him from that. It's called Sur Soleil or something like Saint-Tropez was the title in our country. It was even in our country. But now, if you like him, you can see him in a new adaptation of Around the World in 80 Days. It's a TV series that BBC made, and he's playing Passepartout, this second leading character, and he's quite different from what he did in our film. Yeah, I just think he's great. Yeah. So and with Method, he was very dedicated. He came to Serbia 3 months before the shooting. We rented him apartment. He was staying there. He went with me twice through the whole script. We were going just scene by scene and talking what is really happening in this scene and what is happening with the character. I really believe in that when I'm directing film, that in these rehearsals before the shooting, you don't have to really rehearse like that they are giving the lines, but at least, you know, just to go through the text, and that we know in every scene what is happening and what is his character thinking. You know, this is also, sometimes they are just not saying things, but they are thinking other things, you know. And I mean, generally, I believe in acting, the most important thing is the subtext, you know. When you, as a director, I'm always trying to find that, you know, sometimes that the scenes where the characters are saying one thing and thinking something else, you know. And if these are completely different things, it's very exciting. Like at the end of the film, when he's saying in front of this deportation bus, and then he's saying, "This is not my wife." And I told him, you should say it like the way you would say "I love you," you know. So he was thinking "I love you," and then he was saying something completely opposite. "This is not my wife." And I think that's why it works. It's very moving. If the characters can then even do something else with their hands that is nothing to do with these two things, you know, text and subtext, then you have a bingo, you know, you have a great scene for sure, you know. But this is, yeah, I think this is something I learned from my professor, and I'm always trying, whenever I can, trying to do this in a scene, that they are not always saying the things that they are thinking, you know. Sometimes they just say the opposite, because this is what we are doing in the real life. We are saying the opposite things, that we are not always saying what we think, you know. Sometimes we are saying opposite things because, you know, this is the way people are working. And I think when the audience recognizes that on film, it's exciting, because there is some puzzle, you know, there's some mystery, there's some, you know, you feel that, you know, what he's saying is not the right, so it engages you to think what is he actually thinking. And generally, I think in acting, what the thought they have in their mind is the most powerful thing, especially in the scenes when there is no dialogue. And I could sometimes, I really think I could feel that, you know, when I'm watching the shot and then I see that the actor is not present, and then I ask him, but so what were you thinking about? And then he, you know, realizes that he was not thinking about anything. When you have this silent scenes without dialogue, you know, agree with an actor what they should think, because I think the thought, what they have in mind, you can really see it in their eyes. You can see it on film, in a close-up, of course, in a close-up. That is the power of cinema. You really see what is inside. For me, that's why the close-up is the most exciting, and I'm always like, yeah, I have a lot of close-ups. So yeah, this is the thing. And when I'm talking about the acting, maybe for the short films, maybe, you know, I believe there are just two things that are important: story and acting. The way you shoot it. My wife is a cinematographer, and she shot this film, and she's not here now, but she knows that I you know, the way it is shot, it's, you know, it helps. But you can have a beautifully shot film with a bad acting and bad story, and then it's bad. it's just bad, you know. It's not a great film. So main thing is story and acting. With the story we already spoke about. With the acting, my main advice would be that don't let them overact. You know, the less they are acting, the more it will be powerful. Especially nowadays, you know, the style of acting really changed in the last few, I don't know, a decade or so, and this is very, like, for international audience especially, that they don't overact. And this reminds me always of this very nice experiments. I don't know if you know about them, from beginning of 20th century by Lev Kuleshov. What he was doing, he was shooting an actor just looking out of the shot and not even, you know, thinking about anything, and then he combined that shot like with baby. So he shot, so it was a actor watching, and we see that he's watching a baby. And then the same shot, and then we see a funeral, and the same shot, and he is seeing a girl. And then he was playing it to the audience, and the audience was saying, oh, he's such a great actor. You know, in the first shot when he's looking at the baby, he's so gentle. In the next shot, he's so sad. And when he's looking at the girl, he's very much in love. And it was the same shot. It also tells you that, you know, acting is also depending on the context, and less is more. If you talk about the acting, less is more. Velila, you can always interrupt me, because I told you I speak a lot.
Thank you so much. I hope our team have really enjoyed your time, our time, Stefan. We are now just winding up. We have another showing in 5 minutes.
Okay, can I just shortly, because I did a little bit of research, for you, what could be your opportunities to somehow collaborate or funds that could help you? And can I share my screen, if that is... I cannot share my screen. So there are just... okay, I cannot share my screen, sorry. But there are, like... there is something from Berlin Film Festival called World Cinema Fund. World Cinema Fund from Berlin Film Festival, and it really supports, gives you the money you can apply, and gives you the money to support you in pre-production and production of your, and post-production and production of your film. So in different stages you can apply. Anyway, go to website, again, it's called World Cinema Fund by Berlinale, Berlin Film Festival. There is another really great opportunity, and they are really focusing on Africa, among, you know, Africa, South America, and Asia. I don't know if you know about this. If you know, tell me, shut up. Okay, I will continue. There is another, I will be very short. And there is another film, it's called Hubert Bals Fund. Hubert Bals Fund by Rotterdam Film Festival, and they can give you like up to 15,000 euros to develop your script, you know, and you can shoot the whole film with 15,000 euros. That was my plan at some point. They didn't give it to me, but another time they gave it to me. But anyway, and now I cannot even apply because Serbia is not in this country. But you are, I checked, you are. Eswatini is that. And finally, just one more thing, One Fine Day Films. It's an initiative from Kenya that is really super interesting. They are doing workshops, and they're helping shooting feature films. Tom Tikver, a famous director from Germany, is involved with it. And so it's One Fine Day Films from Kenya. Okay.
Stefan, thank you so much for sharing that piece of information. I hope we can make time again to just sit down and talk about, because when you talk about the Hubert Fund and the World Cinema Fund, I see that there's quite a lot of boxes you need to tick, you know, submitting your shipments and all of that. And I do think we just need to, at some point, sit down and have a technical conversation. I hope we can you soon. Thank you for your time. And thank you everyone for joining us, and let's enjoy Lifalami. Thanks a lot. I'll share the link to the short films that we're going to be watching. Stefan, they're local. Maybe you could have some, you know. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. I would love to. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for listening. Bye.